Hello and welcome to Hey, Dawn's trying to get her audio set. I'm not sure what's going on, but I'll just there we go.
We're gonna tell you why. Hey, welcome. I am so sorry. I forgot what I was supposed to say. My microphone just muted on me. So hello and welcome to
Hey, we like your pod this time for real.
We're going to tell you why. Hi, it's Dawn here, and I'm joined, as always, by my trusted partner, Matt Pickett. Nice to see you, Matt. Really good to see you. How you doing this week? I know the week started out a little funky with Monday Night Football.
Gosh, that was rough. Yeah, no, I will probably talk about that more, but that aside, apart from the assassination, Mrs. Lincoln, it's been a really strange week at work because finals were last week, so like the students have mostly left campus, so it's like super quiet, and we have these days where like there's nothing happening and like just like one or two students on our calendars. And then today, so one of my colleagues who's like a director level is going to be out for a couple months, and they're like, hey Matt, you could do some of her stuff to kind of like cover, because we need somebody too, and you know how to do a lot of the stuff. So I was looking at like her processes for doing things. Dawn. Oh no. Oh my God. So it was like I was looking at it's like looking at the blueprints of a super elaborate cathedral. I mean, like, why would they have built it so elaborately? It's just a regular spreadsheet. I don't know what you're doing here. It was bananas. I almost went insane looking at it. So that was the highlight of my week as far as work goes, was like just sitting there going like staring in awe, like how overly, like way overly complex the spreadsheet was that she had built for the stuff that she does. It was frightening and beautiful at the same time. So I'm good. I'm feeling more healthier than last week. You're asking about that before we started. Yes. And just kind of like getting ready for the holidays, basically. My kids' last day of school before their break is tomorrow, and I just have Monday and Tuesday next week that I'm on break. So yeah, I'm feeling good. A lot of good stuff.
Nice. Very, very nice.
How are you doing?
I'm doing well, but I have a follow-up question. We both love spreadsheets, but yes. So hey, did you kind of feel like you should do a new one for her, or are you not going to go into that? Yeah, just did you do it? Or
I'm going to. I have a bunch of time on my calendar on Monday to kind of like, it's like I have to see what are the things that I need to accomplish, what kind of things need to be tracked, what kind of information does her team need, and I already know how to do it a lot simpler. And I just have to kind of up my own processes that are not as elaborate. Because the thing was like, there's like a master spreadsheet, right? And like almost all of the cells are like drawing off of a different like other tab in the spreadsheet, basically a different table that's part of it. But one of them has like 25 different tables attached to it. And one of the processes that she laid out for like how to do this one thing that her office does, 67 steps to do this thing. 67, Dawn. You would think I'm exaggerating. No, I was reading through it. I was just like, I'm going insane reading this. Like, how is it 67 steps for this? It was, my head is still spinning from it. It was crazy. So it was like the most, like, this is a person I've worked with for a long time. I realized, for the listeners, I'm sorry I'm going on so long about this, but like, and this is a very like intense person. And so to like actually see a bit of how her brain works and looking on the inside was like, whoa, that's crazy.
I wonder if you would have the same reaction if you could see what's in my brain.
Just cats jumping on all surfaces.
Like cats, true crime, like flowers, whatever. I'm just kind of everything. Well, so my week has been good. I did not enjoy Monday night at all. I was so looking forward to Monday night. And then it happened and I was just mad.
Yeah.
Like, I was mad at that game, and I don't normally get like that with games. I mean, I don't love losing, or nobody loves losing, but it was just kind of weird. And I had originally I wasn't sure what was going to happen Monday so I had a working title. So last week, the title of our podcast was Against All Odds, because we were doing so well. Our team, the Green Bay Packers, if you're listening and you're not sure what we're talking about. But then, so tonight it was going to be Against More Odds. But I was also just blown away by this DeVito character. Like, who's that? And why is he running all over the field? So, so it's just kind of a cloud over the better part of the week. And now it's Thursday Night Football, and we're watching the stupidest game on the planet. So it's like, well,
nothing at halftime with the Raiders and the Chargers. Like, what?
I feel better. Although the Chargers is my second team because I live here, and it's like, what, can I win anything this week? So yeah, but now, there was a lot going on in the Dan Markel case that's just been very important to me. I think I mentioned that his mother-in-law, the victim's mother-in-law, was arrested, and her son was actually sentenced. And then she had her appearance, and she just was very animated, and it was an interesting week. And then they released last night a bunch of jail calls between the two of them, which is kind of very revealing. And it's like, then there's a point where she thought she hung up from a jail call with her son, which are recorded, right?
I did not know that.
Well, and they get a notification like this call is going to be recorded. So if you think it's probably the only ones that are not are two lawyers. Well, anyway, she didn't hang up the phone. So it's like an hour of them before she got arrested, the mother and the father and some third person all talking. And so there's all this information that the law enforcement, like, forever.
Oh no.
And then all of a sudden you hear Harvey, who's like 80, go up to the phone. Is this phone still on? Like, I don't think they realized until maybe Monday. I think that's why she was so animated, because some of the things they were saying were brought up in the hearing against her. And it was like, she's like, how did they know that? So now she knows, probably. We heard all of it. So the whole public did.
That's remarkable. Holy cow.
It was a lot. It added a lot of color, let's just say, even though I kind of wanted to move on from that. It keeps bringing me back in. And I'm starting to winterize I know, don't laugh. It's not really winter, but it's December. So
I was thinking it.
I do this kind of thing with my plants, where I kind of take stock and rearrange them, but I'm winterizing in that sense because I have two urban gardens, one in the front and one in the back. And then Tosh, my friend, is helping me build she's really doing I'm not really doing anything, but a new catio. So I have to take everything off to put that up, and then put what I want back up in terms of flowers and pots and that kind of thing. And I'm going to simplify. I'm just going to simplify because I need to simplify. But my flowers are going to be simplified, and they just the last couple of years have been out of control. It started with COVID. I just can't stop buying flowers and planting. Yeah, I started, actually, the first year I tried to grow vegetables. That was laughably unsuccessful, but I tried. I did get good lettuce and some herbs, but so it's been a process, and I can only do like a little at a time because I'm so injured. So I'll lift something up and I'll lay down and and watch more YouTubes or whatever. No, it's been an okay week. This is my week, my time to kind of hibernate and just do things around the apartment in the month of December. So it's been nice for me.
Good.
Yeah, it's been nice. I like it.
A little plants, a little hibernation. Nothing wrong with that.
Yep. Looking at the ones that don't look so good, doing a little repot, just consolidating some of them. And I do have too much. So I do have way too much.
Yeah. Pare it down.
Yeah. I want to go for more of the Zen. My apartment's pretty peaceful and that kind of thing. But I want to have just more of a Zen looking balcony. with the catio.
And speaking of Zen, that's a place where we need to get ourselves to after last Monday's game, because it was a weird letdown, right, Don? Like, I think we're like, hey, the Giants are a bad team. They are a legitimately bad team. And it's just like, I guess with having a young team trying to figure out how to do stuff, we're going to see like the inconsistency. It's just so crazy. So the Zen thing for me right now is like, what's this next game? We'd be like, it's not going to be that bad. It's going to be better. And I think they'll hopefully learn from the last game, you know, be able to move forward with it. So, but I don't know what to expect though with the Buccaneers. I don't know their team very well, and I feel like most of the content to this point on Thursday night has been like, what did we watch on Monday? So like, I don't really know what to expect with the Buccaneers. I know they have like kind of a lot of injuries like we do right now, but I don't know. Do you have any takes on the game coming up on Sunday?
Well, Mayfield can pull. They have Mayfield now, right? With the he can pull out some surprises. You know, I like him and I respect him fairly much. Like I said, I didn't even know what to think about the I still calling him Danny DeVito. I can't help it. I forget his first name.
I think it's Tommy.
Tommy. And it's funny that it's Tommy. It ends, you know, it's not Tom. It's
Tommy. I mean, it's much more like stereotypical Italian sounding. Tommy DeVito.
Right. Hey, Tommy. So I love that.
I
love that. I love New Yorkers, New Jerseyans. So in fact, that's going to be a little bit of research I did on him. Just a little. So yeah, so I didn't. A lot of people said there was a lot of negativity on Twitter.
A little bit. Yeah, no, I even contributed to myself uncharacteristically. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if I was negative. I was expressing like, what, you know, what and at one point, I don't know why I said this, because I am a nonviolent person. Like I said, somebody needs to break his legs. I can't believe I said that. I mean, I was like, I can't believe that came out of my, and I tweeted it. Or I think I tweeted it, unless I sent it to you. I can't remember. But, and then I was like, I want him dead. It was just maddening, just seeing him running all over the field. He's like, why?
Yeah.
Gosh, stop it.
It was bad. It was real bad.
Can't we stop him? And so to me, I mean, is he that great, or
was
our defense that bad?
Yes.
Yes. That's what I thought. I was like, stop him. Just stop it. Guys.
I mean, I think the best points I heard about it is that like our defense isn't set to stop the run. And all they were doing was running, because he kept running, and like the person who would have used as a spy would have been Quay Walker, but he was out. So they tried to have, like in the second half, they tried to adjust and have Devondre Campbell do it, but he's not as fast as he used to be, and so he wasn't as effective. He wasn't tackling well. So I think that's a big part of it. There's that like idea of the Packers playing down to their opponents at times. But when it comes down to it, when you take this guy who is just... He's like a third string quarterback, this Tommy DeVito guy, and you make him look like the literally the NFC player of the week. Like, is that a fireable offense? I don't want people to lose their jobs, but can we please have somebody else? Please. Oh. And I know it's a simplification too of the situation. Obviously, the players contributed. A lot of things contributed. It wasn't just Joe Barry, but it's got to fall on somebody. Right. I mean, it was bad.
Yes, and right. So Joe Barry still has his job. Brandon Staley has not been fired mid-game.
Yeah, by the time people hear this, if they're hearing on the podcast platforms, he might not have a job anymore.
He shouldn't. I mean, I don't dislike him personally. It's just I've been watching him since that first game when I think it was Tyrod Taylor was the QB for the Chargers, wasn't he? And then he got the injection in the lungs accidentally. Was getting and his lung collapsed. So Herbert went on, and Herbert was so cool, and he was just pretty impressive, and he kept his cool, kind of a lot like Jordan Love generally. I think Jordan felt anyway, so that makes me feel a little better about Monday Night Football because the Raiders are not good either, and they're scoring like 1,000 points.
Yeah. I'm really curious to see what the final score is going to be on that one. I mean, like I said before, 42-0 at halftime. My goodness.
Maybe it'll be 84-0.
Yeah, they're on track.
Double up. Yeah, why not? And they got the ball first too.
That's true. After the second half, yeah.
Yeah.
done that. That's an ongoing joke with my dad and I during games. We'll be like at the end of the first quarter, if it's like, 10-0 Packers, like they're on track to be 40-0 by the end of the game, which obviously doesn't work like that, but yeah, they're on track to be 84-0 by the end of the game.
Yeah. They probably, wasn't it the Dolphins that had an 80-point something game against the Broncos?
70. Yeah.
70?
Yeah.
Okay. That's a lot of points.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
You got that right.
But 40, I mean, yeah, this is ridiculous. I stopped watching. I've been listening to it, but I couldn't watch. And I just, Al Michaels being snarky. Like
he's been a lot snarkier this whole year. I feel like I don't know if putting him on Prime made him kind of like grumpy, or if they put him there because he was getting grumpy. I don't know. It's like he's out to pasture on Prime is what I feel like. Yeah, he is not loving it.
No, it's enough is enough. That and then the other guy, I forgot his name, and I like the other guy a lot. I don't dislike
Street.
Yeah, and he's like, not to pile on, but, and then he starts piling on more. It's just, if you have to start your sentence by saying not to pile on.
Yep, then that's what you're doing. Yeah.
It might be a good idea. All right, so let's talk about our superlatives, Maddie.
Yes.
Do you have a theme, or do you have a non-theme?
I do have a theme, kind of. There's one like kind of thing that doesn't quite fit the theme, but it is a theme, yeah.
Okay, well, would you like to do the ones that are themed first?
I'll do the non-theme one first, because the other ones... Okay. Yeah, I'll do the non-theme one. You do some, then I'll do the rest of mine. Okay, because I actually have 4 this week.
And again, a conversation we really should have before the
one of these weeks. One of these weeks we are together before we start.
We need 3 more years to get this right. Okay.
Oh, seriously. Okay, so my first one for tonight. That's kind of like there's one, but there's also an honorable mention with this. So the superlative itself is best profile. Honorable mention to be discussed in a moment. This was a profile that Matt Schneidman of The Athletic did about Malik Heath. It was so good, Dawn. Did you see it? Yeah, no. So Malik Heath, the title in theathletic.com was Packers wide receiver Malik Heath savors emergence after college turmoil brush with death. And it's talking about like the kind of like rough road he's had, and partially of his own making, but like he grew up in a rough place. He didn't always have the best attitude or behavior, didn't always make the best choices, got himself in a lot of trouble in college. Packers kind of took a chance on him, bringing him in. But at some point along the way, he realized that this was an opportunity he didn't want to like screw up. And in the end, is starting to really show out. But to hear like the road he's come down and like how he's been humbled, and the mindset he has now, it's like I'm rooting for this guy. Like I'm ready to run through a brick wall for Malik Heath, who like, before I read that, it's like, well, he's done a couple of good things. He just finally caught some passes in the last 2 games. Now it's like, dude, let's go, Malik Heath. Let's do this.
I love that.
So it's a really good one. I
will check it out.
Shevin's one of the better writers, I think, out there doing stuff about the Packers at this point. Just really high quality writing. Which I appreciate as a podcasting too, for that matter. But since we're talking about a written thing that he did, really good writer. So it was excellent. It's one of those moments where you're like, this is why you got to have a subscription to The Athletic. This is why it's worth it for this kind of stuff. So really, really good. Highly recommend it. And then the honorable mention dropped the same day. This is from Rob Demovsky of ESPN. And so this was Tom Clements' Packers legacy. Brett Favre, Aaron Rodgers, Jordan Love. So, of course, Tom Clements is the quarterback's coach. Did a lot to help Aaron Rodgers, like with his mechanics, become just like better as a quarterback. Did a lot in his early career, and then left to other stuff. Retired, and Aaron Rodgers near the end there said, "I want Tom Clements back." So they actually brought him back in because whatever Aaron wants. And so, but that was really good though, because Aaron needed a little bit of like sprucing up, whatever, but it was really good because then Tom Clements is there to work with Jordan Love, and Jordan Love is getting a lot of help from him, is definitely cleaning up his technique a lot more. It's making a huge difference for our team, just having Tom Clements around. So this is Rob Demovsky's profile on like who he is, what his like really interesting history has been. Cause like, what did I know about Tom Clements before I read it? Like quarterbacks coach, helped Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers likes him a lot. Filling out all these like really interesting details about his life, and it's very fascinating person. Very cool stuff. So it's funny that you would have both Matt Schneiderman and the guy who has the bald head that he takes pictures of, all the time, Rob Domofsky, dropping 2 great profiles in the same day. But I guess, you have the game on a Monday. It's like, oh, they have an extra Sunday to like write a feature, I guess, or something. But they both knocked it out of the park. Really, really good stuff.
I love that. Thank you. I love that. I will check it out for sure. I think I was just in too much of a state of mourning. And like I said, that trial kind of, even though I was like, oh, good, it's going to be done now for a while, get on to other things. It's just sort of like there's just more stuff happening. So
I will say too, sorry, Nas, I will say that both of those came out Monday morning. So it's before like the frustration of the game and stuff like that. So it's still like in a very positive, mindset. I read those.
Sure.
But yeah.
Sure. Yeah. I will never be negative. I mean, I might have said, I hope I wasn't one of the negative Nellies on Twitter. I was just like, what is happening? That kind of thing. I wasn't saying like fire anybody. I don't think. I know some people were saying fire Joe Barry, and I would hit the like button, but that's about as aggressive.
Like button. I support that.
I support that, even though I have no idea if that would help. It just would feel really good. And my sister Lori was just beside herself too. Oh, it was really rough. It was a rough one. She had some pretty funny tweets too. There were a lot of funny tweets too.
Yeah, that wasn't like a really good game or a really bad game. One extreme or the other, it yields great tweets.
It does.
Either way,
it does. So I'm going to start out with, I guess, that game because I wanted to know who this DeVito was. Like, where did he come from? What's the deal? And interestingly, I was chatting with, it was last night, I believe. Yes, last night I was chatting with a guy that's going to be on my true crime podcast on Saturday. And he's from, guess what? New Jersey. So he's one of the first things he said is your Packers didn't do very well. I think he knows I have this podcast too. And I was like, no, they didn't. And then I was kind of put 2 and 2 together, but he talked about DeVito, and he said, did you catch the and I said I was listening, I always listen to the Packers, because he was asking, were you watching the Manning cast? And I said, no, I always listen to the Packers broadcast, and I mute the national broadcast. I don't need anybody else during a Packer game. And it was pretty wild too. That broadcast was pretty interesting too. So he told me some things that I missed. And I don't know if you caught this. DeVito's, they were saying who just kissed DeVito's father in the stands. Did you see that?
Was it his manager guy or somebody else?
Yeah, it was his manager, but somebody was saying, oh, it's his uncle. And he looked very like he had a pinstripe suit on, black pinstripe suit and a fedora. Yes. And I was like, what is happening? And so it was kind of a, they both, I believe, embraced their New Jerseyness because which is good. I mean, hey, so what this, and I would say the person's name, but he's a surprise guest on Saturday, so I can't use his name.
Oh, I was going to ask. Okay. All right.
Yeah, that's being so like clumsy about it. So he was saying, oh yeah, so DeVito, I read a little bit more, but he lived right by the stadium. He's born and raised in New Jersey. He went to Syracuse University. He had offers at Boston College and Yale and all kinds of choices, and he wanted to stay in New Jersey. And now he's on the Giants. And I don't think he was even. Did he even make the draft? Wasn't he an undrafted free agent or something along those lines?
I think he's undrafted. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. So anyway, so they really like him. So I was going to look up some information about that, but I was bombarded with information about his agent, who people were saying looked so typical, right? And I was going to play a little clip, but I'm not going to. So, but what I did find in doing so, and I love to do this too, I could have asked my source, but I didn't think about it. I found some content creators for the New York Giants. And so I found Bobby Skinner, and he had a really fun little video. I don't know, it could have been a screen recording from somebody else of that scene in the stands when the agent and the father were hugging one another and kissing one another on the
Mm-hmm.
cheeks. All of that, and in the Italian family, the big Italian family there, which I love. I married into an Italian family. I love that. It's so not anything like I am, but I just thought it was great while it lasted anyway. I loved the family, that just the husband was a little bit of a problem. So, but it was great. So I found a content creator. They're called, well, his name is Bobby Skinner, and they are called, I forgot. Let me look. Sorry, I already forgot. My brain is fried. Talking Giants. Talking without a G. Talking Giants. Yeah, and so they're on Twitter and YouTube and all that. And yeah, so it was a fun little story and a happy story. But I was kind of looking for, he's just a good runner and all this, but I didn't find anything. It just showed me that we played really bad. It didn't stop.
Yep, this is the people with the kissing on the cheek and the agent with the hat. There you go, Don.
Yeah, that was it. I had the little video, but it's like that wouldn't play very well for a podcast. There's no sense in but I wouldn't even known about that if I hadn't talked to a Giants fan and looked into it, and then found I like to show respect for the teams we're playing and learning a little bit about them too. So with my fraternizing with the enemy sort of light this week. So yeah, so if you're interested in learning more about the Giants or DeVito, you might want to follow Talking Giants.
Like I say, Don, I love that you always do that. Like looking for like the content from the people who are making stuff about our opponent teams. Like, I think that's so cool. I love when you do that.
Thank you. Yeah.
All right. Should I do my other ones kind of in a clump here, in a cluster?
Sure. Cluster away.
So the sort of like theme here, the thread is going to be, sort of a before, during, and after for the game. Going into it, my first one was best new to me voice. So somebody whose stuff I wasn't familiar with. This was in a preview for the game. So one of the, of course, a lot of podcasts do previews for games. This was one that Andy Herman did with, get her name right here, Camille Davis, who is Camille Monet on Twitter. And Camille Davis on, I think, Instagram, but anyhow, her name's Camille Davis, and she does what's it called? It's called it's a show with Aaron Nagler on Cheesehead TV, Carry the G and the MKE, because she lives in Milwaukee. So like, since I don't watch as much of the videos, I don't watch as many of the videos on Cheesehead TV. I didn't know her from there at all. But the work she did on this preview show with Andy, I was so impressed. Like, really, really smart takes, like not the same kinds of things that you hear a lot of other people, bouncing around on Twitter or like other podcasts, not to like, put anybody else down or anything like that, but like totally like fresh ways to talk about some of the stuff that people have been talking about all week. So I was really impressed. I was like, I need to find more of her stuff, check out more of her things. I'll be checking out more of that Carry the G and the MKE show now, because I want to like see more of what she's saying. So yeah, kind of like as far as like leading up to the game, that was my favorite pre-game thing, and my favorite new to me voice, Camille Davis. Did you happen to hear that episode, Dawn?
I didn't hear it. I saw the thumbnail and I put it on my watch list.
Still worth checking out, even though obviously we're past the game and all that kind of thing. I'd still recommend it.
Sure. Oh, for sure. No, because I saw that she was someone new and I want to hear what she has to say. Yeah.
She's good. Yeah, she's really good.
I love it.
So then we had during the game,
Okay.
So before, during, and after. The during one was I want to go most impressive live tweeting. This is going out to our friend Tyler Herrick, because he does the socials for Cheesehead TV, and he decided he wanted to for live tweeting just retweet like everything was like an image or a meme based on The Sopranos the whole time, because the whole like Tommy DeVito New Jersey Italian thing, so the level that he took it to, I think it was something like, it was like 50 or 60 tweets. I can't remember exactly, something around that number, of just every single time a different like Sopranos thing. I was very impressed. His dedication to a bit that was taken to like an extremely high level, both in terms of quantity and quality. Tyler Herrick is some kind of genius, and we're just lucky to have him doing stuff for our team. It was incredible. I'm still I'm not over it. It's so good.
Did he do it as a Twitter thread?
No, it'd just be like something happens, and then in the game he would like tweet a reaction with a thing, and
I saw that he was going to do it, and then I didn't see any of it, which is weird. But I never watched The Sopranos, so maybe Twitter knows that. I don't know.
Like, Don won't get these. Elon Musk was like, this isn't for Don.
I probably would have gotten them even if I didn't watch. I know people who watched them, and I've seen enough of the like clips and stuff. So, oh, that's really cool. I missed that whole thing somehow.
It's actually worth going back to Cheesehead TV's, page, scroll down, kind of go up through it. It kind of tells the story of the game,
So it wasn't on Twitter.
No, it's on Twitter. I'm just saying Cheesehead TV's like Twitter page. Yeah.
Oh, that's where it was. It wasn't on his personal. That's what it was.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Yes.
Because it's for Cheesehead TV.
Know.
Yeah.
Yep. Sorry.
Quite all right.
I remember now.
So that was the during. And then my last one, Don, my kind of like bonus superlative was best post-game tweet. And I'm not going to actually be able to read it as it was worded, but I'll show it on the screen here. And it was a picture of Larry David from Curb Enthusiasm. And he's got a cheese head on because, of course, somebody added that. And he's walking out the door angry and he's saying, F you, and I'll see you Sunday. And I was like, this is how we feel about this game and the Packers. Right. I saw that. I about died.
I love him.
Emma did some great numbers with that one. It's like some 900 something likes, a bunch of retweets and stuff like that. It was perfect. So
was that
hats
Emma?
off to Emma for that.
Oh, Emma.
Yeah, our friend Emma, who's been on the show before.
God.
Yeah.
That's funny. That's very funny, Emma. We love you very much. We really do.
Well done.
Okay. Those are great, Daddy.
Those are mine. That's what I got. What do you got, Don?
Okay, so I have and I'm not going to go into any detail about these. These are just basically, if you're interested in this, check out these two videos. Okay. And first one, I thought was interesting. And I call it the best YouTube video. And it's entitled How Jordan Love Overcame His Tragic Past. Now, I've spoken about this on this show, but there is a YouTube video, and it's a female YouTuber. And she's called She Got Sports. And so for a couple of reasons, I wanted to do that. But it's got some great shots of him, some video of him when he was really young. And it tells his story. And I think we should always, even if we know the story, we can learn a little bit more about it from this video. And then also, I really like to make sure that we remember that these players are humans and they have lives and they have feelings and they hurt, they bleed and all of those things. So even though it's our Jordan Love, I feel that way about all of the players in the entire NFL, unless they're just really creeps, but most of them aren't.
There's one or two for sure, but for the most
wherever
part,
you go in any realm, right? Yeah,
that's fair. That's fair.
So and even if they are, I personally like to hear the stories because usually somebody's somehow the way they are is because they had an experience. Yep. So. But that was a nice one, especially this week, because there are a lot of people who were very critical of Jordan Love. And there is no reason to be hating on a player that is just starting out like this. Yeah. He's shown such greatness already. And I don't know what was off about him, but he looked like he did when we were in Green Bay, really. Yeah,
for the first half.
For some reason. And just looking at Matt LaFleur's face, he was like, frustrated, and then he was looking. There was one shot of Matt LaFleur where he was like, Jordan threw a really off, and you could see Matt LaFleur was mad, and he's looking at him like, and then he started like looking at him, like studying his face, like, what is he doing? So I thought that was kind of cool for Matt LaFleur to kind of insight into what he's going through. He's like, what is happening with him? Because he wants to know, of course, maybe he can fix it. Maybe he can help him during the game or after. But he completely looked, he looked shocked at how Jordan was throwing. And it's kind of weird how he gets off like that. Like we've seen it in the beginning. But we, of course, can expect that this is going to be up and down for a little while anyway.
Exactly. Yeah.
But even Matt LaFleur was shocked. So anyway, Jordan's a person, and still love him. Still love our love.
Love our love. Love to love the love. Don, real quick, then interject something that you said there about this is kind of like the Saints game that we were at. That was so exciting. It kind of was, right? Because like just a really flat first half from the team, but fourth quarter, take the lead back, and then the other team has just enough time, to be dangerous.
Yep.
In the Saints game, they missed the field goal, whereas of course in this one they made it, and that was kind of the difference. But both same situation, and the not to get back to like hating on Joe Barry, but boy oh boy, the defense on that last drive, the ideas going behind it, just the philosophy, it was bananas. But I'm sure people who are Packers fans listening to this have already heard more than enough people talk about it this week. It was terrible. So anyhow, sorry. Yes, there were some parallels with the Saints. It's true.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah. And we also had a missed field goal. So even if we had that earlier missed field goal that didn't miss, we would have had the game.
Forgot about that.
Yeah. Right. And I think that happened in the Saints game too, right? Didn't it?
Yeah, I think it did.
So, because we were like, well, maybe we'll get a field goal. And then we were like, no, I don't think we're going to get that either. I remember that moment when we looked, I was like, I was like that on Monday night too, by the way. Thank you very much for indulging me, because I was like, man, I don't know what to do or think or feel.
Yeah, your messages to me were much more like all caps than usual. So
I know. I really was. I don't know. I had some anger. I don't know. Maybe it's all the true crime I was watching, all the hearings and stuff during the day. So, okay. And then the last one I have, a little sobering. If that wasn't sobering enough, I guess that little last bit. Best YouTube sports doctor for the week goes to Dr. Brian Sutter. And he was up there talking about this. This is the title of the YouTube of this episode. TJ Watt given smelling salts and a dark visor after hit to the head. And this is a week. This is like 10 days ago at a game. Okay. And I don't know if you watched it or anything. And that's, was that the Steelers? Is that who he plays for? Yeah, the Steelers. Well, I'm not sure why I was watching that game, but I was, and I heard them say or maybe tweet that he came back on the field after being looked at, and he's wearing a dark visor. And I was like immediately concerned. Why is he wearing a dark visor? I mean, that sounds like maybe he had a migraine or something. And I didn't know he was hit. Like, I didn't see the hit or anything like that. And then I heard something later about the smelling salts. And this doctor was like, there is no reason there should even be smelling salts anywhere near the field. Like, if somebody needs smelling salts, they shouldn't be playing. They should immediately be, checked out. And of course, now he has a concussion, right? But he did then. So there's a lot. I don't know if enough people are talking about it, because I really haven't been looking at Twitter, because it was just so hurtful Monday night. But I do that. Move on to something else. Yeah. But that's really serious. I mean, and he made some pretty serious comments about that, like how it's kind of malpractice that even happened. They put him back out in the game. It sounds so sketchy. And I just feel like, I'm watching this sport, and sometimes it hurts my conscience when something like this is being done, and then I'm still watching the sport and supporting it. So we need to do better, right? We don't want that happening to any player.
That's not right. Yeah. That's not right at all. That's it's mistreating a person.
I mean, unless he's insisting on it, but even if he's insisting on it, which is very likely knowing his personality, but like we do, but even then somebody just has to say, no, your health, you're going to thank me when you're 50 or whatever, you know, just because these guys are still fairly young, you know, and sometimes the cooler heads have to prevail, and a doctor should be just saying, no, just no, you don't go back out. That's it.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes you have to save people from themselves, honestly.
You do. Right. And this is definitely a case where they're ready to go. They want to play. That's understandable. So those are my 3 for the week.
Nice.
Yeah. A little bit more broad, like, you know,
like usual.
Yeah.
I like that. I like that a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. So Maddie, any final thoughts before we go back to watch this crazy competitive game that's on Thursday night?
Crazy competitive. Final thoughts. I think just you know, remember that just like the players are people, so are your relatives. As you maybe see a bunch of them this holiday season. Maybe you have some, some rough
times you've had with some of them that you're going to come in contact with, just remember that they're just trying to live their lives too, and probably they care about you, even if they don't show it well. And, we're all just trying to get through the day and be there for each other, so that's what I'm trying to say, and find the joy in the season. That's easy for me to say. I know for a lot of people it's really hard, but try to find the joy in the season. I think that's where I'm going with that. How about you, Dawn? Any final thoughts from you?
I really like that. My only final thought is my second team, local team here, does have 7 points on the board. Finally,
I wonder how
the score, but so does the Raiders. So the score is 7-49 now on tonight football. So, but hey, at least it's not 0.
Yep, could be
at
worse.
least it's not 0. It could be 0.
Could be 0. Well, next week we're going to have, we're supposed to have Kim on. Now I said supposed to just because our last guest fell through.
We have to confirm with Kim. Yes.
We're scheduled to have Kim Colello on next week, folks. So make sure that you come back for next week's episode for sure. She's one of my favorite people on Twitter. She's fantastic. So anyhow, should I hit the closing here?
One more final thought. And I'm sorry, I was supposed to say it in the beginning. So for those of you who are listening to our podcast and not watching us on YouTube, we now have our podcast on YouTube in audio format. So if you want to listen on YouTube, I'm there a lot more. And the cool thing is you can comment and have conversations too. If you want to say, hi, I just heard your podcast, because I know we have a lot of people listening to our podcast on other platforms, but there's no way to really chat with them there. So welcome to us on YouTube, to you listening to us on YouTube podcasts. And this is a new thing, and I'm going to try to remember. I'm going to write it down to mention this the beginning of the next few shows, that everybody knows that they can find us now on YouTube podcasts.
Cool. Awesome. All right, friends, of course, you'll find links in our show description for everyone we mentioned, so please check it out. Also, we'd love to have a chance to interview you and shout you out if you're a subscriber and or a football fan or whatever. If you'd like to nominate someone to be a guest on our podcast, please let us know. Our DMs are open on all the social platforms. And folks, when you subscribe to our podcast, you help us to keep spreading the love in our community. And the best way to help us grow this podcast is by sharing it with your friends and family.
Yes, Maddie, that is right. And that's because we love you. We're so glad to know you. We love you very much. And we love our Packers. We're so glad to be fans of the most storied team in the NFL. We appreciate your support in sharing our podcast. And we look forward to seeing you next week on
Hey, we like your pod.
Football in general comes down to discipline and people owning their roles. And when you aren't disciplined or you go outside the scheme, bad stuff happens.